fun. Good sport.
Well, I mean, when you're this close, it's all nail biting. Here we go, getting started.
Well, here in our house, it's just a bomb bag upgrade. So as far as this game mode goes, folks, if you haven't been tuning in or following the tournament, we get a map check immediately. We got 2 and 7 crystals at Hera and Eastern Palace, and a red pendant at Desert. But if you haven't been following the tournament, this is standard mode, not open, and it's also randomized swords. So we're going to get some kind of weapon here from the uncle, something that we need to kill all of the required enemies and escape. Anything that you expect to see today?
I always like to see some kind of progression. Swords and bombs are just boring.
Well, you got it in spades. We have a Cane of Samaria strat, folks.
The most broken item in the whole game.
See, that's a joke that you kind of have to like see the other randomizer modes to really get. But we got Moon Pearl already. Wow.
Well, that's a lot of stuff right out of the beginning. Progression in spades for real.
Now, if only we had the shovel. However, we are seeing some attempts to kill some enemies here. We're trying to avoid using too much magic. Cane of Samaria is not the most magic-intensive item, but as you mentioned before, it is very broken. If you accidentally use this the wrong way, you can do all kinds of weird things to the game. You should check out the glitch randomizers, folks, if you haven't seen just how crazy this item is.
You can actually refill your magic if you spam the button fast enough in certain areas of the game, where all 4 projectiles are on the screen at the same time.
I always found that funny. You quite literally have to be faster than the programming.
Pretty much, yep.
And of course, there are some new techniques that we've seen, recent randomizer tech, and of course, Link to the Past speedrunning tech. In the setup that we have for, is that an 8 bomb drop for Doubt? Oh my goodness.
It was. That's so big early on.
Well, so prize packs should be consistent between these runners for the same types of enemies. In all likeliness, In the Name of DT should be picking up an 8 stack, but I believe that was a blue guard.
It was the blue guard that you can hit with the pot.
That blue guard is always going to give us a small key, so no drop there. Pretty decent chance that In the Name of DT will kill another blue guard before leaving escape, but I mean, there's not really any required blue guard kills either.
No, not really.
Well, we do have the ball and chain guard up ahead. A couple different ways to deal with it, but I would think most runners are going to find this to be the fastest way through in pots. Daotm will attempt to use the Cane of Samaria, though. He's got to trap him in the corner.
Nice work with the cane and with the pots on both sides.
Yeah, they actually finished that up right around the same time. Pretty impressed by that. Daotom's going to run with just a heart and a half of health, so he's got to be very careful not to take too many hits going ahead. It is a little strange to escape the castle when you don't have a sword.
Just a little bit. The snake room especially gets scary.
Also, definitely is a weapon to start with, but magic being at a premium, there are a few small magic decanters our runners can pick up along the way, but certainly not enough for either of them to fully recover all of it if they have to make all the kills they do.
Yes, and if they do run out of magic and run out of refills, they can save and quit, and they will come back with a quarter magic refill, I think.
I believe so. It's just enough to get some kills, but our runners will definitely throw pots where they have the opportunity. Now that, In the Name of DT still not with a bomb, he definitely needs to.
Yeah, Daotm really only has one more required kill in the escape.
It sure seems like In the Name of DT is preserving his magic. Definitely a smart conservative strategy if you're going to try and get a bunch of kills back here, but I'm thinking, I want to say those ropes, those snakes, so to speak, are probably what he's going to try and farm bombs on.
That's what I would be doing, probably. Just such a dense room to farm in.
Yeah, we're going to see it here. Tons of these here. but walking right past it, maybe not liking his odds of killing them, because I think they take 2 hits.
Oh, that is true.
Well, I don't think we've seen a map yet, so there is a chance we get the fabled Sanctuary skip. Wow, in the name of DT, having some rough luck with those ropes. Definitely good kills here, though.
Well, the full magic refills too.
That's about as clutch as it gets. He's going to have a bunch more opportunities to try and get a bomb, although I don't think I've seen anything in a prize pack that looks like it should drop one. Crossing our fingers for him.
daotm's got to be careful down to half a heart. We'll be able to get some hearts here in this room, though.
Thankfully didn't blow himself up. Very easy thing to do. But we have a sword. Very interesting.
Always want to find the sword early. You have to find 2 of them to finish the game, so the earlier you find them, the better off you feel.
And of course, lots of different speed tech that kind of depends on it. Also, faster strategy through different rooms. But in the name of DT did not manage to get a bomb drop. So today, daotm has a huge sword advantage.
Yes, until you find a glove, you'd have to go all the way back through the entire dark part of the escape to get back there. You do have the free light cone in the standard.
Yep, and of course you can walk all the way back through the castle if you don't have that power glove, and it's a very big time sink to do so. So this could also potentially block us in a couple of places. You can't get to Agonim's tower, or you can't get to Aghanim himself without cutting open a curtain. Same thing in Skull Woods.
Yes, indeed, and you also need it to activate any medallions you might pick up.
Wow, we just got a bunch of information all at once. We saw that the bush crab was going to be blue rupee drops, so that's a little bit of farming we can do there. The stun prize is also a blue rupee, and the tier 2 tree pole, you kill 4 enemies and take damage, will be hearts today.
That is a lot of information rapid fire.
Well, it does help that we can see them side by side and get all of these things all at once. Good information for our runners to have, but there's not a whole lot they can do with it. I mean, blue rupees are definitely good, but good for a pinch, not good for, getting you to Zora.
Yeah, they're something you can come back to if you need the extra few rupees, but not something you're actively seeking out.
However,
Red rupees, on the other hand...
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
There's some bombs for DT.
Yeah, it seems like the Lost Woods kind of taunting him there. So I'm wondering, I don't think... oh, we did see a tier 1 from daotm here, and it's green rupees. It's vanilla. It looks like we have vanilla tree poles.
That is what it looks like.
Still remains to be seen if we'll kill 4 and take no damage before pulling again. Then we'll see tier 3. If that's red rupees, I'm just going to throw my headset. That would be a situation where people would actually route in tree rupees like you would normally do it. Like, oh, I'm going to pass the darkness. I guess I'll, kill 4, pull it, and just craziness. That's going to be really confusing later.
Speaking of red rupees, there's a couple in Blind's basement.
And health. Definitely welcome thing to find, although we haven't completed a 4 set of these piece of hearts, but no progression in here either.
No, nothing we have really gets us anywhere at this point.
Yeah, we're still stuck in Sphere 1 here. We have not found anything that's going to break us past it. If we had some kind of Dark World access, that Moon Pearl would be useful for doing so, but Kane and Samaria not opening up anything anytime soon.
More arrows, though.
Certainly interesting to note that players of this kind of caliber pretty much, step by step, they're doing the exact same routing here in the early game. Really speaks to the execution of these runners. We got a hammer.
That's almost progression somewhere.
Yeah, just a reminder, folks, you are tuned into Speed Gaming 2, where it's go mode somewhere.
Yeah, always.
I didn't catch that bottle vendor, but we will get a chicken shack here.
Bottle vendor was just a 5 bomb upgrade. Same as the chicken hut.
Yeah, not exactly a productive Kakariko village yet, but we still have a sick kid that we can't check for now, and we also have the back of the tavern. Also, the townspeople seem to be having a few problems.
Well, with the with the mirror there, that's still almost progression. You could sequence breakup. No, you can't. You don't have a glove. Never mind.
However, it'll definitely be very awesome for all of our routing for the rest of this race. So our runners, 10 minutes in, very happy to find that. Yeah, so the mirror in the back of the tavern, do you think it's there because the townsfolk just need to see, what's going on with their bodies right now, their sprites?
Yeah, trying to understand what's going on. They hid the mirror there because they think they're all vampires or something, because crazy things going on in that town.
I would believe that. They also imprisoned the duck and hid his flute on top of a bookcase, so they don't seem to be, normal Hyruleans. But race game today, only a heart, probably not Saint card. We're going to skip past that.
On to the South Shore, it looks like. Do you think
So it looks like
either of these players are going to make the early agonist play after the dam, or do you think they're going to go with a more standard route of the mini Moldorm Cave and on to Ice Rod or whatever on that side of the world?
Typically at this level of play, I see people, skipping it. Oh, Master Sword in the dam. That's pretty good. That's early. Wow. But so I kind of anticipate that they'll skip it, but, I've been surprised in this tournament. Well, that's really good news for In the Name of DT. He's finally getting his first sword with this.
Yes. Now we'll not be swordless. Only had an extra 6 minutes to go around without a sword.
Well, if you wanted sync in your races, it was just broken. We're seeing a little bit of divergence here. DT opting to pick up those bombs, and then both of our runners heading towards Mini Moldorm Cave. With 13 to work with, he should be set for quite a while. But he can use them against the mini Moldorms in this cave if he feels like his Bomberman skills are up to par.
And after the escape sequence and having all of the bomb capacity, might as well pick them up, right? Keep bombs at a premium.
And I'm pretty sure we can hold at least 20, maybe 25 at this point.
Oh no!
Ouch!
DT taking an unfortunate death there in the mini Moldorm Cave.
Yeah, they live up to that old troll dorm name big time. As far as their routing goes, they kind of try to follow Link a little bit. I don't know, it's kind of weird how the search beams for enemies work and how they plot their courses, but we get another 8-bomb drop for Daotome. He's really getting lucky with these. Good news is, though, it doesn't take that long to walk back here, so time lost, but not terrible.
No, not the worst time loss in the world at all.
We will, however, make the slow walk all the way up to Ice Rod Cave. I'm kind of wondering if anybody's going to try to do a fake flipper here, because we can do a water walk to access the Waterfall Cave.
Oh yes, with the Moon Pearl, you can. That might make it worth it.
In my personal experience, that's a good reason I would go, but then again, I went 2 and 5, so grain of salt. That is everything Sphere 1 except for Regina's Cave, though, so we are running very low on potential locations. That's when I was going to walk back, so it looks like the reason he's doing so is going to be those fake flippers.
We also have Sahasrara's house.
Oh, you're absolutely right. So there will be 3 items that we can access in the back of his hut, and then, of course, anything in Eastern Palace that's that you can just freestand and walk to.
Daotome is going to see a glove on the island.
Which, in all honesty, I have to think that's probably going to be Titan's Mitts by the time we get him.
I would have to agree.
Or is that, like, logically the case and I just wasn't thinking through it?
I mean, if we get a lamp and some flippers, then we could, that could be the first glove.
Well, stay tuned, folks. That's the kind of rough situation for runners if they're doing this normally. I mean, it looks like both of them will do the fake flipper, although DT kind of low on health. You wouldn't find that until you had the flippers, so it's terrible. I hope they find flippers in Sahasrah's hut, or else this is definitely, going to be a Titan's Mitts on Lake Hylia Island.
It's always good to have information. I love having information in Randomizer.
Yeah, it's part of the reason you see these runners, checking Lumberjack Cave, even though a lot of folks won't, until they have the boots. That information alone can sometimes determine exactly how you're approaching the race.
I'm going straight to the waterfall cave.
Well, if you liked your races synchronized or with high fives, we're approaching that rapidly. We have to walk inside and then outside to get these items, and then, wow, Big 20 and Heart Piece. So we were not expected to come here for anything important.
Just a bust. Oh well. That obviously means that the flippers are going to lead to that being the first glove upgrade.
It's starting to look that way, if that was the one thing that was blocking our progression. We're going to get an item check here for the Zora Ledge, though. Big 20, in the name of DT, taking a little bit of extra time, but also preventing himself from being flipper locked from something important.
Again, that information play.
Yeah, and it didn't really cost him much, maybe like 10 seconds, and if that saves him from doing Zora until way later, or for whatever reason you might do that, definitely things that they may be considering. They also need a lift upgrade in order to get there, or flippers, so that information will tell them whether or not Zora is even worth approaching. Oh, we got boots!
Boots and silvers, that seems good.
Holy moly, care package in the back of Sahasrah's hut.
Just right there next to their usual spot. Just he's hidden them in the back this time.
Well, Randomizer's being particularly alliterative today. Boots equal flutes, and we're going to get that immediately on daotm's side.
Yep, gonna set the goose loose right away.
I like that you chose that particular one. Excellent. Well, for the first time in a while, we're going to see the Hyrulean National Anthem pretty early on in the race. First 20 minutes, it looks like, and daotm's trying to get spin speed, forgetting that you have to walk a little bit onto the staircase, or the ladder, I suppose, if you want to call it that, and you have to be moving cardinally south or north off of it to activate the spin speed.
Yep, that one little tap of a diagonal and it's all broken. DT also getting the flute here.
But with that, the duck will run amok. I'm wondering where they're going to go first. Death Mountain, logically accessible at this point with Mirror, looks pretty good, but we don't have a fire source for Hera either.
With the hammer and the mirror, I would go straight to Death Mountain. I might save and quit and go to the Sanctuary and check Bonk Rocks and then go to Death Mountain. Seems
reasonable enough to me. daotm looking to sequence break his way back to the old man first, which isn't that hard when you have a sword. You can actually see where you are a little bit better. Swordless, though, I wouldn't recommend even trying.
With the boomerang, you can, or the boots, you can kick up dust and see where you're at too a little bit. But yeah, it is the easiest dark room, but without a sword, not very easy at all.
So we're seeing a little bit of divergence here, exactly what you were talking about before. DT's going to check Bonk Rocks here, and I have to imagine go up to the mountain immediately behind daotm.
Just some health.
Looks like daotm has no patience for dead rocks, summarily pushing them to the side, and we're almost in another high five situation, but also going to check for the old man's heart. Always happy to see spin speed being used, a kind of overlooked speed tech in the randomizer because so often we go without boots. There is a very important single arrow, though, inside a Spectacle Rock.
It's going to be lonely there for the rest of the game, I have to figure. But these 50 rupees I would definitely grab. Oh well.
Interestingly enough, I'm not too concerned. I guess he's probably expecting to find 300 drops somewhere.
Yeah, there are lots of 300 drops hiding around, so... Oh, well, map there, so 50-50 here.
Yeah, barbacoa, not the best thing to find right there. But we do have a chest right here. It's going to give us one kind of key.
That's the one we want to see.
Yeah, if you're trying to avoid the basement coffee break, although, I mean, if you got to go to the restroom or get a coffee for real, I mean, maybe you do want to do it, but this early on, I don't think our runners are too worried about that. But that big key means that we can continue to climb up the tower. There will be a couple more items up here, and we may be able to even exclude that basement chest.
So that's a green pin at Ice Palace, and it looks like a blue pin at Misery Mire. DT with the Dark World check here.
Might be a little bit before we see another one.
And Pod and Thieves Town being the red crystals.
Looks like we're going to get a really nice bomb jump from daotmb there. Using his boots to great effect, you can use a spin slash, and the game won't allow Link to release that spin slash until you're on standable ground. That'll put you the closest you can be to the pit.
Oh, got hit a little with that bumper skip, but made it work.
Yeah, typically when you do bumper skip and it doesn't work well, you just fall down, so good recovery.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Missed the third spin and then got knocked down.
Spin strats with the Master Sword, very effective way to take down Moldorm. You can get him in 3 actually, and you get to skip the enraged phase as well.
Yep, same as using the hammer.
Personally, I prefer the hammer, but totally understand when people want to use their sword, because you can also kind of prevent yourself from falling off the ledge as long as you're holding the opposite direction. But daotm's going to take a death here.
Fell off the side and then got hit.
Yeah, he ended up getting 1.0 there, didn't he?
That's very unfortunate.
In case any of you out there didn't realize or didn't know, having played Randomizer, the Randomizer is based on the Japanese 1.0 version of the game, which means that all of the old glitches that we want to use for speed tech, like, you know, spin speed and all that stuff, item dashing, but it also comes with the vulnerabilities of the game, which include being hit while you're already falling down a pit.
And DT with the hammer, just no thank you, Moldorm.
Every time you get a good Moldorm 1 kill, though, I feel like the Moldorm 2 ends up being a bit of a troll, so I'm hoping not for DT, because that was a phenomenal fight.
And with that blue rupee, that means there is an item locked in the basement that we'll have to come back for later.
Yeah, without a source of fire, we're dipping out of this for now, but we have that hammer, so we're heading east here, and there are 7 items that we can check easily, and then an 8th item in the Spiral Cave.
And we know that they will not be able to find Dark Death Mountain access up here, so it will all end with the Light World Death Mountain checks.
Yeah, this is where that knowledge of the Lake Hylia Island really pays off. They know that they can't progress because that other lift upgrade's there. If they had never checked that, they may have thought, hey, maybe I'm going to find 2 lift upgrades here. So they'll know exactly, as soon as they get that 8th item, they're saving and quitting the heck out of there. Then again, though, if they do get 1, I guess they could possibly check Spike. No, we don't have any kind of invincibility.
And at this point, DT's probably still has the back of escape weighing hard on his mind.
So I gotta think as soon as he does get a lift upgrade, he's heading right back there. Well, our Paradox Cave at the very bottom, which I guess is the middle of the mountain. It's kind of weird to think about that. Those 2 chests being not much of anything, rupees and looks like I think a bomb bag upgrade. We got 5 here though. These mini Moldorms guarding them fiercely. I got a big 20, a 10 arrow. Let's see what we get on the other 3 here.
Well, there's a lamp.
That's a red cave, isn't it? I mean, I think every item was. Daotom taking a death, though, as he heads over there.
Got dead rocked as he jumped down.
It's almost as bad as getting Waffle House, but definitely not in the same spot. Well, that's rough for him, because we do know that the lamp is there, and that lamp could potentially lead you back up to Hera right away, although I think our runners are opting to check item density first.
And it also unlocks Aga for Daotom. With the Master Sword and the lamp. So that could be our Dark World play there.
And with Hammer so early, it's actually not that bad of a Dark World access either. If we can get to there, we can pretty much go everywhere in the Dark World. Well, even though he came here with flutes and boots, Agina's Cave not paying offer in the name of DT besides, I guess, the actual money of 50.
Looks like DT is going back up to Hera.
Yeah, progression certainly points in that direction when you have that lamp. Not a whole lot else besides Aga, so I think he's just trying to exclude it at this point. Daotom definitely coming all the way back here, though. Good for him. He's not missing this lamp.
No, you can't. At this point, you can't just skip the east side of Death Mountain because of the death. It's not like the death going to Istrad Cave and they're like, okay, I'm gonna forget that it exists and whatever. There's too much. You have to come back.
Well, on that note, we do have folks in chat pointing out that we have not been to Eastern Palace yet as well, so there is a chance that we find something like Bow there. We could find lift upgrade or potentially even other access to the rest of the world.
Oh, that is true. After finding the boots and the silvers, it was just save and quit as soon as you could.
Oh, opting for the Magic Boomerang coffee break, but getting trolled a little bit on the first couple tiles. He will, however, have an opportunity to do whatever he pleases for the next 10 to 15 seconds. That is not what he should be pleasing to do. He has mirrored his way out of... Oh, no.
Well, that is unfortunate.
Worse yet, he has no real reason to have the mirror out at all. We're going to be using Lamp next.
Daotom going to the Aga Tower, making the Aga play.
I like that he's serving up Din Din with those gold guards. That's my favorite energy strat for that room. Just opting to hold against the door and let him line up close enough to get a double spin on him. Good vanilla game knowledge there. And at the same time, looks like in the name of DT, wants to avoid using his item button altogether. Up until these last couple here, he switches to the boomerang.
Yeah, I'm really bad at land moves, so I always have to do that strat in MG.
Yeah, I never have arrows either. But we do get a bottle, so that gives us Sick Kid for the first time in the race.
All right, that could be something.
Always nice to have that boomerang so early on, though. We're heading back to Kakariko, and I think he knows exactly what he's doing. Now, the Sick Kid could be a troll here. We're going to find out in a moment.
Well, he refilled his health at least.
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, we got that much out of it, right? It would have been really bad if he saved and quit out of that, because then he would have lost that advantage. Looks like chat's got the right instinct here, though. We're going to head to Eastern Palace, and we get some awesome Circle of Pot strats from Daotom as well. Wow, that looked really amazing.
Yeah, that was a really nice room.
I'm very surprised to see... Oh, yeah, we already got the back of Sahazra list. We're going just to Eastern. I thought for a second there that he hadn't done that yet.
Nope, definitely got the boots out of there earlier.
Well, it didn't take him long, but Daotom was already all the way at Aghanim.
It was a very quick climb up the tower.
For those of you out there who aren't familiar with this boss fight or in Randomizer never seem to see it, it's a 5 attack cycle. The first one is always going to be a reflectable shot. 2, 3, and 4 in the vanilla game would be a 50-50 chance of blue ball, which you can't do anything with, or regular. And the last one's always a lightning attack. Now, in Randomizer, we do control for this RNG, so both of our runners will have the same number of blue balls, provided they hit every available shot.
Yeah, if they miss, then all bets are off.
Well, if you feel like getting your guesses in, chat, go ahead. We're going to need 6 hits to take the Aghanim down.
₹100 so far in Eastern. And a map.
I believe that's Daotom's second blue ball as well. You know, this Eastern Palace ain't bad at all. I mean, we got boots. It feels a lot faster than normal.
Anytime you have the boots for Eastern, it just feels... Well, hello. There's another sword.
So, very early on in the race, Daotom has had access to, I guess this is all Sphere 1, Tempered Sword.
Yeah, Sphere 1 Tempered Sword. Oh, the mushroom on the pyramid.
Well, there's a halfway decent opportunity to check it. I don't know if he didn't actually check for information with Zora Ledge, so he may opt to actually go to Catfish because he has the mirror and he can do all of this all at once. Does he have the rupees though? No.
But with the cane and the hammer, you can also fake powder here,
which is very useful information for the magic bat, which is actually, yeah, as you mentioned it, as soon as we can get to Kakariko, we'll be able to get that.
We're going to get to see the Hype Cave first, though.
Yep, this is a very standard place for people to start in the Dark World as soon as they have access. You can kind of go west from here and get most of the items in the Overworld. Well, it's looking like Armos Knights has an item, and at the same time, Daotom gets the best boomerang.
I don't know about that.
Save the frames.
But the cool 100% strats.
I mean, you got me there. That's like a legit reason to actually like the magic boomerang. I'll allow it.
Come on. I like red things.
Oh, come on. Everybody knows Pokemon Blue is the best version. I'm saying real contentious stuff in chat. Fusel, don't hate me.
All right, so DT going back through the escape with the Master Sword will then be able to mirror back and do Aga, since it's the only thing left for him to do.
You know, this isn't that bad at all, really. I mean, he's going to get his Tempered Sword at this point, and he's going to have that before Daotom, and he's going to be able to go right to Aghanim, which obviously is the routing, but it does put him clearly behind him.
Yes. So far, no progression from Stumpy unless Zora has something, and those 300 rupees might come into play. Let's see what we're digging up today. Just a broken heart.
Gotta love that it was in just 3. If it was 2 digs, it would have been less than 3 dig, and I would have been really happy about that, but that's okay. Less than or equal? However, with everything from Aghanim done for Daotom and In the Name of DT making that climb, definitely going to be comfy with a Tempered Sword, but it still takes a few minutes, so Daotom has a pretty healthy advantage to check the world. He looks like he's heading towards Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, gonna see what's over here. There's not a whole lot of the world that's still like logically open without flippers or a glove or a hook shot.
Well, so now that we've seen both of the maps and we've kind of had a better look at what our items are like going into later Dark World, I'm kind of curious as to what we're going to need here to finish this seed. Turtle Rock is a crystal, so we'll need both rods. We'll definitely need that bow and hook shot. But we're not that far away, actually. The lift upgrade is probably going to be the most elusive thing.
On the medallion, perhaps. Medallions and the ice rod that can be literally anywhere except the dungeon they're needed for. Well, I guess the ice rod can't even be there.
Yep, Laser Bridge Ice Rod. I think Chomp Ice Rod is more trolly.
Mimic Cave Ice Rod's the worst.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. We do find out on daotm's screen that we are not bow locked here in Palace of Darkness. Not yet, at least. There could be more items, but we can at least progress through the dungeon. We're going to get a shield upgrade.
Don't have to worry about fireballs anymore. DT with some bad RNG on that red guard.
It seems like he handled it pretty well, though, all things considered.
Tempered sword makes it easy to handle. Just a couple of easy slashes.
It seems like that's going to help them out a lot for this being a fast seed. Regardless of their progression, I mean, they can kill things so quickly.
Yes.
Unfortunately for DT, though, can't do anything to make this Ganon fight faster, even less so in Randomizer.
Nope, stuck in, has to wait it out. Well, speaking of medallions, here's the Quake.
I really like how this worked out. We got boots, we got flutes, and we got quacks.
Yes, indeed. So now daotm's gonna get the tempered sword right now. The only real question is, will we see him go to the mushroom first, or will we see a fake powder before turning in the mushroom after this?
It's kind of interesting because, you know, our runners want to be able to do a hard reset if they don't end up, you know, getting anything from the actual witch's hut, if they're going to do that first. So, I mean, you kind of have to balance in your mind, when am I going to go buy, you know, Kakariko? And when am I going to go turn it in? Although if you're fluting around in the light world only, you're not going to be in the dark world, it's kind of easier to work that out.
Yes.
If they were only on foot with no bird, though, I would definitely be thinking carefully about when I'm turning that in.
The flute and the mirror combined just really help your routing throughout the entire world. You can just, oh, I want to go do the magic battle. Right, I'll flute to 3 and just run over there really quick with the boots. Okay. Without that, it's okay. When am I gonna make it over there? Never at this point.
It's tough though, because I mean, you gotta think about, you know, if they're gonna even consider going to Catfish. Very low percentage chance of something being there, but absolutely possible.
Can't get there yet. They don't have a lift upgrade.
Oh, okay, so they do have to go to Lake Hylia here first.
Yes, indeed.
DT probably doing that right now? No. Interesting.
Maybe without the flippers, you can't get the first lift upgrade.
Oh, right. That is in deep water. I keep forgetting that.
We're not in the holiday festive season anymore. The summer now, things have melted.
That was one of the most amazing things ever, the Charlie Brown theme playing over everything.
It was so great.
I literally downloaded an emulator for my phone just so I could do it. We'll get a nice little damage boost here from daotm to get these vanilla big key here in Eastern Palace. So he's going to find out in just a moment that there's nothing but that sword available to him right now. DT, having done Hype Cave, is going to make some of the same checks that daotm already did here in the rest of the Dark World Overworld.
And that makes sense. It's the reasonable line of play to go over this way.
Yeah, in the dig game, once you've got it out of the way, and Stumpy and K45 over this way, you know, doing stuff like smith chain, purple chest. You don't have to make as many backtracking trips, so this is kind of handy to do from this direction. But you can always do it from either. Routing, though, you always want to be taking care of as many things in one line of direction as possible.
And the mushroom yields the flippers. So no fake powder from Daotm, but not going to be really worried about that because has the flips.
Yeah, definitely not going to hard reset either. We found what we wanted there.
Has to go the long way back up to Aga to get the Dark World portal, but we'll be very happy to get those gloves.
Well, since we have killed Ganon, it is possible that we'll want to use this bridge warp that you just saw on Daotom's screen just to get the big bomb over to the Pyramid Fairy. That is a possibility for us.
It certainly is. Alright, DT is going to fake powder before going to turn in the mushroom, it looks like.
He seems to have a burning desire to find that item.
Oh no! Daotom taking another unfortunate death from those bomber things in the lake. These things got me in one of my races. They're awful.
Absolutely vicious too. I mean, they have this really weird, attack animation. They hit from a strange distance. It's not quite spooky action level distance, but it is annoying. Big 20 is going to be our prize today for the fake powder, though, so not the greatest thing. But in the name of DT, we'll not have to come back this way with powder.
At this point, has cleared out the sick kid and that, which is the light world, pretty much there outside of the smith chain. So Kakariko mostly clear.
Well, there's our lift upgrade for Daotom. Having picked that up, we have quite a bit more available to us. I'm kind of curious to see where he's going to go first. It would seem to be Village of Outcasts, possibly Skull Woods.
Possibly. I personally am not a huge fan of the Skullwoods play in this version. When you can complete Thieves Town, I don't know though. I also went 3 and 3, so what do I know? DT trying to go up to Zora.
I love the pause right after that. He's like,
Wait a minute.
It definitely looked like he was going there to buy potions, though. He dropped his B right before he left the Batcave.
Daotom into Village of Outcasts with the bug net. But we already beat Ganon.
Yeah, something's amiss here. I guess that's probably for the refight. I mean, that's a lame game.
A forced Aga 1 fight without the bug net to get it later. That's just mean.
Well, I think I must have missed it before. I guess DT hasn't checked the Hobro down here under the bridge. We'll get his 5 from him. But he's also going to be able to get the item, the lift upgrade, if he follows this back around. A bit of a roundabout way, but it gets in there.
Yep, and he can continue it down to the whirlpool and go up and check Zora if he wants to also.
And he was just denied it, so remains to be seen. He will probably take this faster way through across this bridge, though.
With the boots a little faster than swimming.
And with the way I personally swim, it would definitely be faster, just for not bonking into things. Well, here's the one that got Daotom. Looks like in the name of DT, he's going to manage to get through. So he was right there. He was just about to pick it up, wasn't he, when he died?
Yep, just needed a mirror.
I think you're absolutely right about DT's intentions here, Clifford.
Gonna see what the scam fish has today. What if it's the other lift upgrade?
I would be so mad. It makes sense logically, though. I mean, there's no reason it can't be here. Well, what's today's scam?
Nope, not quite. Not quite a lift upgrade.
That's like Wind Waker auction levels of scam.
Just about.
And even worse, we're not even going to get any treasure out of it. DT, probably not feeling too great about that, but he does have the money he needs for Palace of Darkness, and if he had to, he could buy a potion to get ready for the potion glitch.
So he's going to go over to Village of Outcasts as well, though.
I agree with this as well. If you don't have bow, you know, unless you're already kind of in the neck of the woods of Palace of Darkness, I mean, a lot of it's accessible. Daotm did get that shield upgrade and Quake, but probably best if we can come back here with the bow.
Daotm living dangerously here in Thieves Town with just one heart.
Wow, emphasis on the danger. He's sniped by an anti-fairy.
That's rough. At least you won't have to go all the way back up to the attic.
Yeah, it's always nice when you can at least bomb the floor. Then when you come back through the hellway, you know, you just gotta hit the switch north of it and come right back down.
DT finding that net is the one item he didn't want to find, so he'll be, you know, salty about seeing it, maybe.
Well, despite some of the early advantages our runners have found in terms of combat ability, this has proven to be a pretty dangerous scene, and we get a God Pixel from Daotm. Oh my god.
That was pretty. It's always awesome to see.
Just wow. So for those of you who aren't familiar with it, there's one pixel that you can stand on, or maybe two pixels that you can stand on in the center of that conveyor belt room. We call it the Hellway because it's pretty obvious. Enemies everywhere. But you can dash through the entire thing if you're lucky and have good RNG.
Yep, mostly just needing the RNG. You can set up the pixel pretty easy with the boots dashing in. But then you still have to get lucky with some RNG. Daotm finding a shovel with the neon maiden.
Yeah, I was gonna say something seems a little off about this maiden.
And the bow.
Oh, what?
The back half of Thieves Town paying out in literal spades and bows.
I knew it. You're gonna jump me on it. That's awesome finds, though. With that bow, Palace of Darkness becomes way more attractive than it was before. And we have a lot less to worry about doing Eastern Palace as a combo.
Can go right back and take out the Armos Knights and get his crystal and item.
Well, I don't think these racers are actors, but they do have a script in front of them. Blind here on Daotom's screen, having a pretty good Phase 1 and Phase 2. Phase 3 going decently as well. Nice.
Yeah, a nice fight for Daotom there.
So we're talking about ways we can save time here in this race. I mean, having that bow with a single dip of Palace of Darkness in the name of DT is going to be pretty efficient here.
Yes, indeed. We'll not have to worry about the double dip there.
It's kind of interesting to note, though, that Daotom's still, I guess, as far as it looks, you know, ahead as far as progression goes. I know that DT's already checked most of this Village of Outcasts, so I gotta wonder where they're gonna go after this. You know, the Pod Eastern does seem pretty appealing, but they've already checked most of the items.
If it's me, I'm going back Pod Eastern, just because after you do those, you have your 2 red crystals with Thieves Town and Pod. I like this North Dark World routing here before that, though, or to get over there. Either way.
Yep, we can still use the mirror, and we can actually get into King's Tomb using the mirror as well. So tons of things to do on this side of the world. Very smart to be routing it around here. We could just flute to 5, but we would miss all of this stuff. Might have been Sandcard in there, we'll never know.
And even though Daotome doesn't know it. DT did go back up to Hera and wait out the tiles twice, well, 1.5 times to get that bottle to go check the sick kid also.
And sick kid didn't have anything, it was just a piece of heart, if I recall correctly, right?
Right, it was just a troll, but
Yeah,
that could
definitely
still
a
be
chance
weighing on Daotome's mind that, oh hey, there's still an item up there in the Hera basement.
So I guess Daotome would save the time if he finds a more convenient bottle.
Yes, indeed.
Well, a bit of a weird start to DT's blind fight.
He took the script and crumpled it up and said, I don't need that.
Oh no!
Oh, that's very unfortunate.
Well, that's a very painful refight as well, because Blind ends up moving to the top of the screen. Interesting other story, though. King's Tomb has Fire Rod.
That is very interesting. And now, just straight to Skullwoods is the play for Daotome.
Yep, you can complete it now, and no reason not to do it while you're in this neck of woods. You're basically completing all of the west side of Dark World, besides the Smithy Chain, which you can absolutely take particularly well if you have your book with you. I like this.
He with some nice cane strats here.
Best part about it is you can get like several hits per, and he's actually only going to use 1 block per cycle right now. This is incredible.
What a beautiful refight.
Like, I mean, I've never seen that where somebody's refight goes like seriously 10 times better than their first fight. That was just incredible. I think he's practiced that.
I think maybe a little bit. All right, now Daotome going into the back of Skullwoods. Probably going to go straight back to Moth.
Nice thing about that is, you know, we do know that it's a required, crystal. And on top of that, when we come back to routing, we can avoid possibly that maze item just by kind of looking through the rest of Skullwoods. It's very quick to get throughout this dungeon. So doing this first does give us a potential information advantage.
Most definitely.
Gotta love having Tempered Sword for Moth fight, though.
He, however, is fluting straight over to 5 to go do the pod Eastern combo right away. So
yeah,
we're
he
gonna see
didn't.
some divergence.
He didn't opt to pick up King's Tomb, so you know what's interesting is I think no matter where you get King's Tomb, you pretty much go right to Skull Woods.
Pretty much, yeah. Just a compass on Moth.
Yeah, and a very effective fight. You can see how the spikes haven't moved much. If you're kind of catching a fight late, that's one way to tell, you know, how well did this go? Did the spikes move much? And if it's chaotic, you know, you probably had a rough fight, but that was pretty good.
Spikes are the worst part of that whole fight.
Yeah, guaranteed 1 heart of damage no matter what mail you have. Daotome will opt to go all the way through the maze, though. Has the mirror, so it's not as painful.
Yeah, having to do this without the mirror is one of the worst things in the game for me. I hate it. Right up there with all of Swamp Palace.
And Dark Maze and Palace of Darkness.
But the big key is the reward today, so that's a nice find.
Makes the rest of this dungeon pretty easy to route through. We only found a compass on Mothula, so we have 1 dungeon item left and 2 potential regular items. Well, DT
I know before
here has...
the Moth... Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I know before Moth, Daotome checked the vanilla big key chest, but I don't remember what it was.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the big chest. Yeah, you meant the big, like with the mummies.
Yeah. Use the cane to skip through that.
That's the most amazing thing ever. But we're just going to get a barbacoa burrito for the big chest itself. So this chest and the other one on the bottom left in the map, this one's going to be Ice Rod.
Well, there's almost the Turtle Rock play. Maybe even more so.
Wow, that's how would you feel finding those two items sequentially?
I'd be like, all right, where are these dang mitts?
I mean, seriously though, I mean, we get the the Fire Rod in King's Tomb, leads us to Skull Woods, leads us to Ice Rod and Ether. Like, and it's got to be a sign.
DT now with the Quake Medallion. We'll go over to the bow-locked side of the dungeon. Or rather, to the back, because he's already done the bow-locked side, because the bow let him route it in the other way.
Yeah, so we're going to see a bit of a convergence here. Well, with the lamp in hand, I'm not sure we're going to need to do a bomb jump here, but in the name of DT, we'll at least open up the door.
A little bit of a time save there.
Personally, I also tend to just throw the bomb to the wrong spot when I'm in the maze, so possibly even saving a bomb, depending on if he has that same problem.
That's very possible. Gets the big key there in the money room.
And we'll even get to pick up a little bit of extra cash while we're here, getting a slight rebate on Kiki the Extortionist Monkey.
And there are the mitts.
Holy moly.
So with the mitts in pod, that's going to send Daotom almost straight to Dark Death Mountain, I would think.
Yeah, tons of items available to us now. This is the vast majority of the Dark World. The only thing that stinks about it is not having the hook shot. You kind of have to take the north side, but for Daotom, he will have an opportunity to get that Hera item, so we may see him waste some time there.
That is a possibility. And depending on what the T-Rock medallion is, the hook shot's all we're really looking for at this point.
Sure looks like it. Hookshot will get us into Swamp Palace and a couple of other locations, but beyond that, we're very close to go mode.
The real question is, when is DT going to go back and get the Fire Rod?
Well, I mean, Titan's Mitts could possibly point you in that direction. If you're accessing it from the light world, you need them.
That is a possibility.
So that's a mimic strat I haven't seen in a while. Turning twice inside the door frame to make the red mimic line itself up. But both of our runners have that Titan's Mitts, so they're both on their way back to Helmasaur King.
Yep, Daotom going to go through the dark maze first, and then on to the Helmasaur King. I think they call him the king because he has more knockouts in an MG than anything else.
Seems to make a lot of sense to me. And it takes 17 hits to just take his mask off, or his crown, I guess. So, you know, that seems to be pretty fitting. Well, this is everybody's favorite room, right? The Terrapin room?
I used to be a lot more scared of it than I am now. Unless I'm in the dark, then I'm terrified.
Yeah, it's a pretty brutal room, particularly when you don't have, you know, a fire rod to at least light the lamps up. Well, this is a pretty comfy fight overall, though. Tempered Sword, very overpowered against this boss. Will only take about 4 slashes, I believe, after we take that helmet off, and we'll be able to do that with 17 hammer smashes.
And also with the silver arrows, just one arrow can dispatch of him also.
And we'll probably see that, you're right. Fun fact for you folks, Fighter Sword does 1 damage, Silver Arrows does 100. to anything that can take damage from it. So there's actually only 2 bosses in the game that can survive a silver arrow shot. Vitreous's main eyeball can take 1 before it dies. It takes 2 to kill him total. And Ganon can survive 3 and is killed with 4.
Truly the most overpowered thing in the entire game. It trivializes so much. They're great.
Well, so we know that there's no other items here in Eastern Palace besides the one on Armos Knights, so this is pretty much a straight dive to the back. Nothing else we can do to really speed this up. If we had the hook shot, there's like a couple small time saves by frames, but it's gonna be a pretty fast dungeon.
Yep, with the boots can just dash on through. DT remembering that he's been here before. Gonna go left instead of right. While Daotm is into the Helmasaur King fight.
Yeah, he's opting to do freestanding hammer smashes. Now he's switched to holding his sword out. There's a couple of advantages to each strategy. Not holding your sword out is a little faster. Well, he even despawns the fireball. Wow.
Very nicely done. If you break the mask while a fireball is on screen, it will despawn.
Which is really handy knowledge, and it leaves people counting to 17 a lot in this game. And I say a lot because people tend to die at this point in an NMG run.
All the time.
But that will be our other 5-6 crystals, so Pyramid Fairy, also in logic. Wow, DT is a ninja. I mean, you saw that dodge, right?
Yeah, just who needs cannonballs when you just walk through them or whatever that was. That was incredible.
I know somewhere out there a Zelda gamer is shaking his fist.
Just the red rupee from the Armos Knights. As you can see, the silver is just destroying them, 1 hit each.
Yeah, there was not time to even explain the fight before it was done. It was really slick looking from DT, only wasting like 1 arrow. Sure seems like the drop tables are generous for enemies here in Eastern Palace. Both of runners getting tons of drops everywhere.
Alright, now DT going back into the Dark World.
We may be seeing a Smith Chain, or we're hoping, at least if you're looking for a close race like I am, that he's going to go to the Fire Rod here.
Looks like it is going to be the Smith play.
Now this can still yield us our hook shot, so for all we know, this might end up being the right play.
It could be. Now Daotm also about to go into the Armos fight. All getting trolled a little bit by that red Igor. He just hit it with the arrow, just frame too early.
Yep, we get to see the nice bottom right strats, and he's going to get as close as possible to hit those Armos as soon as that bow releases the arrow. And we get from the Smiths just some love. We've got Love Smiths today.
Love on the left, money on the right. No progression either. Well, unless you count that crystal. That crystal's pretty nice progression.
Absolutely. But we're fluting, and it looks like DT is heading towards the purple chest, the thief in the desert, to give him his lunchbox. Now, this is a pretty low percentage check, but we have everything we need to make this pretty quick.
Well,
percentages be danged.
That's a pretty nice find, maybe.
Maybe. Maybe. Could also be a terrible find. But I'm kind of curious as to what he's going to do with this first. Oh, he hasn't done dig game, or he hasn't even dug the grove here. You know, I think you had the right idea about Pyramid Fairy. Daotom's gonna check it.
Straight away. Although, with that book, the one thing we are missing could, depending on the item placement in Ice Palace, be up on the pedestal.
So folks, if we ever do get a pedestal check before we do all of these things, if they haven't exhausted it and they still don't have that hook shot, when we read the pedestal, you're going to be looking for the message, boing, 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 and I expect all of you to absolutely flip out in chat, because I'm about to flip out if that happens.
It's my favorite text on the pedestal.
I mean, it's just got so much shock value. One could say you'd be stunned from that item.
You might. Unless you're a mummy.
Yeah, unfortunately. Bandages are pretty good defense against that, but we're going to get a Bombos check.
And Daotom going back up the mountain. Gonna head over to Dark Death Mountain and possibly into Turtle Rock if the medallions line up.
Yeah, so the only one we haven't found at all is Bombos. We did just check its respective tablet, but that was just a little bit of love. So if you see Bombos here on Turtle Rock, we are still locked out of there, and that will be one of our go mode items. Of course, it is possible that Hookshot is behind, say, Misery Mire, which might require Bombos, so that's still a possibility.
I'm actually a little surprised that neither player has checked the Mire Shed yet.
Yeah, that's been available for a while, hasn't it?
Since they left Pod. I don't know, I try to make as few trips up Death Mountain as possible, and so a quick little dip over to the Mire Shed area and Checkerboard Cave would be something I would do before coming up to the mountain. But again, these players sitting on 4 and 2 finished better than me, so what do I know? I'm just here talking. Oh, and it is Ether.
Ooh. So we have what we need to do it. I think Daotom's diving all the way through this.
I would.
You really only lose time in one room, that one torch room on the right side.
Can you imagine having to do things the intended way? Oh no.
I don't even know what you're talking about. What intended? What does that mean?
I know, right?
We've really broken this game over the years, haven't we?
Just a little bit. Continue to break it to this day.
Yep, even just recently finding new speed tech, it's never a dull day in the Link to the Past community.
Alright, so DT is going to the North Dark Death Mountain. Not the Dark World. Not the mountain. Words are hard.
I have the exact same problem, specifically Dark Death Mountain.
And here's going to check the Graveyard Ledge and then presumably immediately to King's Tomb and get that Fire Rod.
In the meantime, Daotom doing a bunch of spin moves for us, waiting on this very long conveyor room. Unfortunately, doesn't have a hook shot, so these rollers kind of deadly.
Yes, they do a ton of damage. Everything in Turtle Rock does a ton of damage.
It's kind of a risky proposition to be here in the first place. Green Mail. Pretty much everything does 4 hearts. So, I mean, those Chain Chomps, Hokuboku, this is rollers. It's a bold move to be going in here, but it is logically accessible.
Yep, and with no powder, it's even more difficult. Because in MG, by the time I'm here, I've got the powder and feel safe after the Chain Chomp room, at least.
Can relate. That powder, I'm never going to drop it.
Nice use of the crystal switches there to get some iframes from the blocks.
Yeah, that's a harder to do thing than it looks.
It really is.
Also, DT's going to check his bumper cave on the way back to Skullwoods. Actually ends up being fortuitous routing.
Yes, indeed. Gonna now go straight through Skullwoods. Only got murder-dactyled a little bit there. On a nice double spin from Daotom on that pokey.
That one always feels extra nice because you can get through the door even as a bunny. Usually if you miss it, you have to wait a little bit longer.
And DT also going to check this big key chest, which turns out to be a small key this time.
Also, DT seems to be doing a lot more, I guess, traditional or intended routing through Skullwoods. In the meantime, though, Daotom is pretty close to that big chest. Probably going to check Mimic Cave. I mean, it's a crazy place, but Hookshot can be there.
Yep, while you're there, you might as well. Just a quick mirror over. And we are indeed seeing it with these crazy light world mimics for some reason.
Yeah, that's a unique situation. We don't see those anywhere else, do we? And on top of that, a little bit of insult to injury. You're only going to get a little bit of health from that one heart container. Oh, here's hoping DT's moth fight goes just as well. It's oh my god.
Perfect. What a beautiful fight.
We're talking, folks, within like a second or so, if I recall correctly, of the task time for that fight. That was just insane.
That's so beautiful. I love a good moth fight like that. Oh, and there's the Bombos medallion.
Which is potentially part of our progression if Hookshot's in Mire.
Yes, it could be.
Well, now that I think about it, there are a ridiculous number of places where Hookshot can be if everything else in the game has been acquired.
There are really so many places. All right, here we go. After Moth, a red goo.
Interesting. Okay, so very unlikely that we're completing any pendants today. Whether or not we jump into a pendant dungeon, though, and how we would approach it could very well be influenced by this decision that DT made here.
Again, having that book gives the information. Still one more place that it could provide progression to. Nice laser skip there from Daotom. Oh, until I opened my mouth and then shot in the back.
One of the more dangerous things about laser skip is just getting back from it. The other thing that stinks too, well, it's good that you took the safety door, but you can also get sniped after you've already fallen off the ledge, that whole 1.0 thing we were talking about earlier.
Oh, yeah.
I love the idea that, you know, laser beam shoots across the room, but as soon as you fall off the ledge, it does a 90-degree turn downwards.
Heat-seeking lasers. So now DT with Ether and the Ice Rod at Skullwoods has his Turtle Rock care package, since it was Ether. And we'll get to see the Ether tablet on the way up here, too.
That's pretty convenient. I don't think Daotom checked that yet.
No, without the book, you can't.
Oh, you're right. He didn't pick up the book. Interesting. Okay, so if this has Hookshot, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, because you got to go through the whole Smith sequence to get the book.
In the meantime, though, Daotom getting iced here a little bit, but seems to be having a decent fight in spite of that. Gets the straight line of ice. I've never seen that before.
That's so weird looking.
I mean, it's aesthetically pleasing. It just feels off.
Yeah.
Wow, the sick phase 2 though.
Very nicely done. Oh, just a full heart on the ether tablet.
Well, that being said though, with green mail still, probably not the worst find.
No, definitely would be happy to find hearts.
Well, looks like DT's going to make the same play that daotmb did, but has a little bit of completion to not worry about with that tablet. I think daotmb is probably going to head for there after he checks everything on East Dark Death Mountain.
Yeah, there's only 3 more checks we can make here. The Super Bunny Cave and the first cave in Hookshot Cave.
Yep, you can bonk dash. You can do a dash bonk to hit a skull pot to cross that gap. That's the only one in logic without that hook shot. Swamp Palace is a possibility though.
Oh man, Hookshot in Swamp Palace, that's mean.
I think for newer runners out there, this is one of the more obscure locations to check without hookshot.
I've seen the hookshot there too. I've seen runs just get destroyed by the hookshot being there.
Well, daotmb heads back to the light world. Looks like he did want to go to the ether tablet, but he's going to flute instead.
And it looks like we're going to see a mire area.
Interestingly enough, he sets up that altitude value for the bird, which could be relevant later if we actually go through Misery Mire. He seems to be preparing for the worst.
Didn't check the requirement because doesn't have to. Has all 3 medallions. It doesn't matter. And well, there's the rest of Kakariko Village for daotmb.
Yeah, and the red goo and powder, I mean, we're talking safety cave.
See, if they'd just gone there before Turtle Rock, both runners would have all the safety.
Yeah,
and
powder.
300 rupees.
Well, it's definitely good to have this powder now, though. Plenty of Vanity Fairies left in the game to come across, and Ganon's Tower will probably be the most valuable place. We might see a very, very close to NMG Ganon fight if we don't find that gold sword or any mail upgrades.
Yeah. Tempered and 13, 14 hearts, and but with silvers, so that helps out a bit.
Well, hey, Desert, we haven't been here yet.
Nope, the quick pendant desert dive.
Certainly not a bad idea when you have those boots and mirror.
Not at all. Be able to go check the right side and then mirror straight back out. That's a nice feeling.
This is probably the one place in the game where you get the most value out of the mirror. You know, besides Palace of Darkness, just so much you can do to route this dungeon more effectively, and get your way right back to the boss side of things as soon as you found everything in the front half.
It's like having the boots in Eastern. It feels so great.
Looking like a very epic long fetch quest for daotmb, though. He's gonna get that big key in the first room, gonna get the small key from the big chest. I mean, really send him in loops here.
The DT not getting the double pokey spin before getting bunny beamed has to wait out a minute while in bunny form.
Well, on the right side here, we have found a quiver upgrade and a big 20, so there's nothing in desert.
Nope. Garbage.
But it didn't take too long to check. About 2 minutes.
No, he's going to go back and kill Lanmo.
I don't think I miscounted. Maybe I did, but I'm pretty sure there's still either a compass or a map.
Yeah, we saw the 2 items, but he doesn't know the pedestal's off the table without the book, so...
Ah. Okay, so yeah, running out of locations. He's literally going to do that. He doesn't have a book either.
So we might see a mire play almost immediately after this.
that could be good and bad, because it does seem like a pretty likely place to find a hookshot, but if it isn't, ugh. I got a bad feeling about this, Clifford.
I have to concur. Luckily, with the fire rod and the silver arrows, the landmo fight should be pretty easy.
Yeah, this is definitely a quick thing to do. Either way you want to do it, even with the magic he has, he could even do fire rod, but silver arrows is definitely the fastest fight.
Just perfectly done. 1, 2, 3.
Absolutely obliterated.
And DT into the second half of Turtle Rock.
Gotta love that spot juke he did there to avoid the roller.
Daotmb is going back into the Dark World.
Given how long it takes to do all this, and interestingly enough, Bombos, it was in Turtle Rock, so if Hookshot's here, it was a required Turtle Rock first play.
And if Hookshot isn't here, then I'm just eating all of my words about coming down here before going up there, like,
I mean, I definitely would have checked Misery Mire area first, so I mean, you would have got the knowledge he needed Bombos anyway, so I think it would have worked out. But it just so happened that Bombos was in there, so we've got 2 items we can find in here. One of them needs to be Hookshot, or else Daotmb is a pretty significant chunk of time behind if DT finishes up this Turtle Rock pretty cleanly.
Yeah, depending on where DT goes next. If he does the same thing, then it's just chasing each other around the world.
I'm actually pretty surprised that he's doing Misery Mire. I mean, Swamp has quite a few items, even though you can't access a lot of them without the hookshot. I mean, there are at least a couple you can access without.
I just hate Swamp in general. I hate going there. It's so slow. You have to wait, and then wait some more. Then wait some more. Oh, there's the big key. So we have a God Mire. But unfortunately, still need to go look for things.
Yeah, that's like the big slap in the face. Like, oh yeah, you can just go right to Vitreous, except, you know, you probably shouldn't.
DT with the clutch L3 fill there on Laser Bridge.
Yeah, that death warp was clearly calculated. Gonna set up for a sweet cane dash, but Helmasaur, the little mini Helmasaur, decided to ruin his day.
300 rupees so far on Daotm's side, so we've seen 1 item.
Well, moment of truth, are we going to see the long cutscene?
We are not.
And that's everything in here, so Daotmb choosing to continue this dungeon means he absolutely is banking on that pedestal.
Wasn't sure which way to go to get back towards the back of the dungeon. With the no small key, found the right path.
Yeah, it can be pretty easy to get disoriented in Misery Mire. You know, just from all the crazy convoluted ways those keys get routed.
Oh, having a little issues with his cane there.
And that could actually prove to be kind of annoying. I don't know if he has any kind of green or blue potion, but not really having a lot of magic to hit the switch with. So you might have to opt for slower strategies here.
Has enough to get right through there. We'll have to use boomerang or sword strats elsewhere now.
Yep, so that's the room where we could use that new speed tech, but without magic. And he may have not gotten the setup right in the first place, so with that knowledge, he just opts to bomb the wall instead.
He's going to come into this fight where the silver arrows really, really shine the most, I think. Making the Vitreous fight just so easy. Not that the vanilla way isn't, like, easy with some practice, but just these arrows tear these eyeballs apart.
Yep, zero cycle here, pretty easy to get, and wow, daotmb doing it so fast that he had to wait on the eyeball to surface, that means he did it really quick.
What a beautiful fight. Gets the blue pendant for his troubles. And DT coming over to the mire area also. So now daotmb coming back over here to Kakariko, going through to the village of Outcast Warp again.
Gotta think for the smithy chain, right?
Gonna see the smiths, maybe the sick kid on the way.
And there's some good and bad with that. I mean, if folks out there are hoping to figure out, hey, is daotmb going to die of one of these dungeons, Swamp Palace or Ice, knowing that both are bad gambits in general, you know, if you're excited to see that, you might not see it because he could end up checking pedestal, and I expect to see rage slashes if he does.
Yeah, probably a little bit. Knowing that you found the items and then went and fought the boss for no reason, that's always a sad deal.
And those were definitely deliberate decisions. I mean, I got to think at 4 and 2, these guys count their items.
Oh, for sure. You could see the indecision in the riot shield room when he got it. Like, what should I do here? DT, though, is into desert. But with the knowledge that landmo is not required. So we'll not have to worry after getting over to the right side and getting 2 items. Just mirror out and be done with it.
Yeah, he'll definitely be walking around a bit. But I gotta think he's gonna head to Misery Mire as well, do the same thing.
It's definitely a possibility. I don't know. Desert is so much quicker than going into Mire. I don't know if I would do both of them, but I don't know. Ice Palace kind of sucks too, so there are no good plays at this point, really. Like, just pick one and see what works out.
And with our crystal possession or progression being identical, really whoever finds that hook shot first will be our first go mode entrant, but they'll also be ahead.
And that is enough for DT. He's fluting away.
Well, we know that this is great news. He doesn't, so he's making a gutsy gamble to go into Swamp Palace, it looks like.
Making the play on the Crystal Dungeon. Might as well.
So it's kind of interesting to consider. I mean, logically, Ice Palace could have, hookshot locks, but there are ways for us to break those, sequences. So there are some choices where you can make, it might take longer to do the Ice Palace sequence breaks, but that is full clearable if you know them.
But at the same time, if Ice Palace is hookshot locked, you're not going to sequence break to get the hookshot.
Precisely. So it looks like that's probably why DT here is opting to go for Swamp Palace. He seems to know exactly that.
And if it is here, then he can just finish the dungeon and doesn't have to worry.
It sure seems like there is a possibility of a vanilla hookshot here.
It could be.
daotmb for a moment there forgetting that he has to be in the light world to get this item.
Seeing the red rupee, deciding, nah, I don't need that. Got plenty of rupees at this point. And there's one item for DT, 50 rupees so far. Daotm gets the book.
So critical juncture here. Does he check the pedestal? He's already spent all this time. He's going right to Ice Palace. He's double dipping on his pedestal gambit. We know it's just a red potion.
But at this point, the hookshot could be here in ice, which would be a huge play.
Man, if it's that first chest. I don't have a table to flip, but I'll want to.
That would be ridiculous.
Well, we're getting really close to finding out who is our first Go mode entrant, and it will not be both of them close together. They're definitely in very different parts of the world.
I mean, they're still both kind of in the south, but yeah, no, completely different.
And there it is!
There you go.
Daotm finds it in the first chest of Ice Palace. He enters Go mode at 1 hour, 30 minutes, and about 25 seconds of change.
That's ridiculous.
Also, on the bright side for In the Name of DT, he can't get very far without this hook shot, so he will definitely know that's where he's... Well, no, he won't know that's where he's got to go. He's got a lot of places he can check.
Yeah, he can still go back to Meyer.
Well, so his best hope at this point is to have God Vision and realize that Ice Palace is an attractive play for him. He knows Desert doesn't have it, so it's between that and Meyer.
And with Ice being the green pendant, I wouldn't be surprised to see him go over there after he gets done on the left side here. The left side of Swamp, the worst place in the whole game.
Yeah, this is extra rough because, I mean, he has to do 2 loops to get both these items.
Oh yeah, because no hookshot, of course. That's so bad. I hate this dungeon.
Certainly giving you a reason to hate it today. But both of our runners are in this dungeon. Daotm, having just entered, will be able to clear this pretty quickly. I gotta wonder, I mean, do you just dive right to the back? You know you have everything you need.
Oh yeah, total go mode here. Well, there's Butter Sword on the left side. So a small consolation.
Hard to say if it's even going to save the time it takes to pick it up, but all the same, it's definitely going to make a couple enemies easier to kill in Ganon's tower, and I guess will help with Ganon himself. Not much else beyond that.
Nope, the jump from Master to Tempered is far more impressive than from Tempered to Butter.
And at the low, low price of 10 rupees vanilla.
Indeed. All right, so now, with no other choices, he's got to leave Swamp. DT is now going to fly to 8.
Yes! All right, so this is still going to be pretty close, folks. Right now, we're looking at about a 4 or 5 minute split between these two.
Yeah, right about.
So with everything that we've seen in the seed, though, we've also seen a number of deaths. There's been green mail since the start from the gun. So that is a possibility. We're still encountering a lot of very difficult segments ahead with Ganon's tower and Ganon himself. Not that out of question for someone to die and, you know, for that to be a deciding factor in this race.
Yeah, there have been a lot of just unfortunate snipes this race. And there it is for DT. There's the hook shot.
That may have only been about a 3 minute difference. I'm trying to remember. I think it was about 1:30:25. I said. So yeah, that's about.
So 3.5 minutes, right about.
Certainly not insurmountable, but Daotom's already actually on the Argus fight. So Swamp Palace getting done real fast. It looks like he was trying to do some hook dash strats there, which is good for a 0 cycle, but if you don't set it up perfectly the first time, it's pretty hard to get.
It just looks so pretty.
I think we have seen 1 or 2 zero cycles in this tournament, haven't we?
I think we have, yes.
Arguably the most difficult fast kill strat in the game, so if you're looking for something real swag to do, boot up the practice hack and go at it. Well, nearly a high 5 here.
And that will be crystal number 7 for Daotm.
Well, go tell the folks out there what that means.
Well, we have ourselves a game we like to play, where we guess what chest the big key is going to be in Ganon's tower. And if you're a supporter or a subscriber to any of the speed gaming channels, then you can get on a leaderboard if you guess correctly.
Well, I gotta ask you, Clifford, what is your favorite location to find that big key when you're watching, not when you're playing?
I always guess Bomb's chest.
Uh-oh, I've been jumped. Today I'm gonna guess 21.
I'm sorry. It's always Bob.
It's gotta be Bob, but, you know, I can't take the same guess. However, though, if it was 21, there's a chance that this could even up the race a little bit, so I'm gonna hope for that. And of course, not, you know, having any kind of preferences for either of these runners. I just like close races.
Oh, of course. I always want to see a close race.
One thing I often hear from runners in their interviews is that they really like to know if they're going to lose that they're at least like in Ganon's tower when their opponent finishes, or, you know, somewhere close. So we're definitely going to be in that position here unless daotm decides to like EG his way into the Triforce room.
Yes, definitely. I know when I'm racing, like, first and foremost, it's me against the seed, and then my opponent is secondary to that, because I hope we both do well and beat the seed. I want us to be finishing close. Put on a good show more than anything.
All right, well, we're about to stop the guesses here. It looks like our tracker Kirito actually started the game for us, so we'll just need to hit stop as soon as we get to the basement here. We should be okay. All right, last guess is in. We're cutting it off. Or maybe it didn't work. I think maybe rip bomb.
Sad days.
First 2 chests in here are not productive, though. We're going to continue further into the dungeon. We have a key, and he opted to not go right side, interestingly enough. And he's going to spare Bob in exchange for that heart container.
And DT getting through Argus with heart and a half left.
Wow, that was quick. So, folks, if you guessed chest number 4, you are our winner today. Unfortunately, the bot doesn't work, so we'll just, you know, in solidarity, thank you for, you know, winning, and we obviously give you our love and affection. Redeemable only on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and not redeemable for cash.
Everything he just said.
That being said, though, we are heading up to the rest of the tower, so this is bad news for DT because he may end up going right side after getting that key. That's a common play for a lot of people. And even if he doesn't, it can't be made much faster at this point.
No. Having the butter will make things just a little bit faster, but not a whole lot.
Now, of course, we talked about how dangerous this Ganon's tower is. Dying is extremely punishing because there are no safety doors. You don't start any particular place in the tower. Thankfully for daotm, he has no problem in Ganon Ball Z, but he skips the safety room, interestingly enough. So if he dies, he's got a long way back up, and that can give DT some time to catch up here.
Does have the powder, so after the gauntlet can get the bunny beam. But having a little trouble in this, my least favorite room of the gauntlet. The jumping Stalfos, just they're so trolly.
Well, it seems to be doing pretty well through most of this. These ice rooms probably the most challenging things to do in the first part of the gauntlet. This one in particular, if you don't end up getting that skull right away. But using really great sword swings to control his movement there. And he's going to skip the bunny beam.
Nice Landmo 2 fight as DT is entering the tower.
Oh, I forgot. We do have a red potion, so daotm does have a backup here. He just has to not take any crazy damage.
And picks up a couple of hearts there also. And DT mirroring out, so he will get the big key quickly also.
Looks like both of our runners going to spare Bob today. Thank you. And looking pretty good here for daotm. This is a really fast Ganon's tower.
It really has been. Very clean, too.
Well, there is possibility of despawning the tower. daotm avoids it by going so fast that wasn't even possible.
That's the worst feeling in the entire world.
Yeah, shout out to the Parisian player. Poor guy. Well, this is probably the most productive place to use powder. We're going to get 2 fairies for 1 shot and a full refill of magic. So this is what I like to call the last gas stop before Ganon.
Getting nice and refueled. Just 3 more fights to go. Now 2 more fights to go.
For a moment there, I thought daotm was going to do a hover there. But he's going to skip them.
I thought.
Well, it seems to be a common troll. A lot of people who can hover will do it just to kind of like mess with our heads. But he does skip the vanilla big 20 chest.
Doesn't need to go hunting for butter. We know it's not there. Gonna be fine with the green mail. Oh, and a nice triple right off the bat.
That may have counted as 1, but there were 2 shots there as well. So this is going to be a really nice, yeah, that counted as 1. So this is actually going to be a 4 cycle, but he had a good shot at a 3 cycle there.
Very nice Aga 2 fight.
Yeah, that triple was pretty sick.
And we're going to be on into a Ganon fight very shortly.
Now with Tempered Sword, this is a pretty standard fight. We're going to have to do 12 sword slashes or the equivalent sword spins to increment phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 3, we just need to time it up with some jumps, but we're going to have 4 hits total. And then in the last phase, we just need 4 silver arrows. So daotm has a pretty straightforward fight here. Hugs are pretty deadly, though. He probably can't take more than 1.
Yeah, hugging the pig is 8 hearts of damage. Just...
Oh, this 1 cycle setup, though. He's got a chance at a 1-and-1 here.
Almost.
Well, here's hoping for no hugs. That is 8 hearts of damage with green mail, and Fire Bat's pretty lethal at this point as well.
Does have the red potion, so he can survive a hit.
In the meantime, DT is all the way up to his Moldorm 2 fight in just a couple of screens here, so definitely still very close race.
Oh yeah, it's a very close race. On into phase 4 now for daotm.
Oh, the triple silver arrow to finish it!
A beautiful triple, getting both the triple on Aga2 and then the triple on Ganon to finish it. That will be GG for daotm.
Goodness gracious. With that, he'll walk into the Triforce room and finish with an official speed racing TV time of 1 hour, 44 seconds and 44 minutes and 25 seconds. GG.
And with that, Daotm will advance to the bracket stages of the tournament.
Now, I'm sure, folks, if you've been tuned into the tournament throughout this week, there's been talk about, potentially a few people advancing with 4 and 3. Depends on tie breaks. So there is possibly some hope for In the Name of DT. He will get a triple there, which is really nice. But it will depend. His fate is out of his hands at this point. I mean, I know that the RNG and the patterns are the same, but that really looked like a mirror image fight. Quite literally the exact same patterns, exact same and strategies to respond to him. So with that, In the Name of DT, we'll head into his Ganon fight. We'll also see if we can get daotm in here for an interview. Looks like they'll be finished and prepared for that right around the same time if he'll join us.
Yeah, DT does fall into the Ganon fight. And with the butter, it's just 6 hits in each phase.
All right, well, looks like we will be joined in a moment for that interview with daotm. We're going to wait on DT to finish up his fight here, which should be very quick, as we talked about. Buttersword really makes this trivial.
Yes, on into phase 3 already.
I like the use of arrows here, just kind of express a little bit of frustration with Ganon.
Just a little.
Oh, no!
And taking a fall, that's unfortunate.
On the bright side, it is a fast refight, but probably a little frustrated with that one.
Yeah, just a little bit. But he'll get to jump back in here and finish it off.
Well, while we're finishing that up, do you want to call everybody's attention? Because I think this is a fantastic race to watch. Great show in general from these guys. If you liked what you saw and you want to see these guys in more of their randomizer action, I know both these runners are prolific randomizer runners. Give them a follow. They've been putting on a great show, and as far as daotm goes, he's got plenty of a tournament run to go. DT kind of pending status on that. But yeah, I mean, show him some love.
Definitely. We're back into phase 3 again. And yes, he did find the arrows in the light world.
Pretty early on as well, our cowboy friend had him today.
And that is Ganon down for GT. Get some fanfare. And DT has finished with an official SRTV time of 1 hour, 48 minutes, and 43 seconds.
Alrighty, with that, we'll see if we can get both these guys in here for an interview. It looks like daotm's ready for his. And with that, we are joined by our victor today, daotm. Congratulations and GG.
Thank you.
Oh, so you were advancing.
What? Oh, yeah. I was a little bit hoping I wouldn't, just because, well, I mean, I really want to, but I have been busy, so setting aside a couple hours each week to do more races is going to be tough, I think, but...
Oh
yeah, it's pretty exciting.
That. But congratulations, either way. Moving on into the bracket stage of the tournament. How do you think your run went? Like, do you have any words on what just happened?
Aside from dying, the one thing I was kind of thinking was possibly a pedestal seed, just because the hookshot was in. Well, it ended up in a pretty bad spot. But I get to desert, and I was thinking I should have checked ice first, just because then I would have the knowledge of whether ice was logically hookshot locked or not.
Oh, yeah, we had a pretty interesting gambit between that and Misery Mire, and kind of some tough choices to make between that and Swamp Palace as well. You know, trying to figure out which bad situation with hookshot do we want more than the other. And you end up finding in the first chest, it worked out.
Yeah, I was kind of scared, actually, when I got the book from Purple Chest. I was like, do I really want to check book locations? And I was kind of committed to thinking it was a pedestal seed at that point, so I just went for ice. Lucky on my part, I guess.
Definitely worked out for you. DT found the book and checked the pedestal early-ish, because he found the book before doing King's Tomb, so he checked the pedestal after killing Mothula. And it was just a red potion.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was kind of... Well, I guess going into pod early and not finding anything right away, just a Quake Medallion, kind of pushed me away from going back to it. Because mitts were there, and if I had gotten mitts early, I think it would have been very different in terms of what I did.
Yeah, and had you not gone to the big key chest when you did, you could have gotten the mitts right then.
Yeah, the only reason I didn't want to do that was because I knew that either the big key chest had to be progression of some kind, or I had to be locked out of pod completely. And so I didn't really want to get too sidetracked by getting out of logic progression.
No, that makes sense.
You know, I wanted to ask you, though, how did you feel about finding all these swords so quickly? We had 3 swords in Sphere 1.
I love having Tempered Sword, just because I'm used to it, and, you know, when you practice stuff, you have Tempered Sword, so it makes it a lot easier. Especially boss fights. Moth wasn't very nice, and it would have been a lot worse without Tempered, so...
Makes sense.
Well, looking at this performance today, I'd say it's very commanding victory, even with how close it was. I mean, it clearly shows that you got some great routing mind behind what you're doing. I mean, look at your collection rate, 144 at 216. You know, for what the seed was, it was less than 2 hours for both of you, of course. But is there anything that you might, try to do to prepare for the elimination bracket that starts just next week?
Well, I've been practicing some NMG just because I want to get my tech down, or my execution down, and improve on that. And I died like 3 or 4 times this seed, so if I could just not die, I'd be pretty happy. But, well, I don't want to take it slow to not die. I want to go fast and not die. So.
That makes a lot of sense. And, some of the NMG stuff did really show through, though. I saw a couple of strats that were really hilarious, like the Circle of Pots Room and Aga Tower. Both of you guys tried to pull that off. I think you had the bad RNG, though, right?
No, I had good RNG. The right guard walked down, so...
Yeah, so DT had the bad RNG, but you made it look really good in that room.
Thank you.
Yeah, the whole Aga Tower climb was really, really nicely done.
I suppose Aga was the other thing. I had a few Light World locations I still could have checked, but I don't know. I wasn't feeling good having Master Sword and Lamp. I was just like, ugh. And, well, I guess I sequence broke to see the gloves on the island. I actually thought those would end up being mitts, but with those there, I was like, I have to have glove progression or Aga Tower, and if you find, I don't know, something else, And then those ended up being the level 1 gloves, so good call, I guess.
Version 29, am I right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough.
Yes, indeed.
I think that's about everything I would want to ask. Is there anything you'd like to share with your fans out there?
I mean, I just appreciate anybody who enjoys watching me or anything like that, or enjoys watching any of the races, because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have gotten into this, and this is a lot of fun, so I just appreciate everybody that's involved.
Well, all right. Then I guess with that, that's just going to about wrap it up for us. Thanks a lot again to both the runners and to our tracker today, Kurito. I think you're going to have us a look at the schedule here, looking ahead at things.
That was exactly what I was looking at. Read my mind. So as far as Randomizer goes, folks, you're tuned in to, of course, Speed Gaming 2 right now, but there are plenty more matches here in the Speed Gaming family networks, and of course, ALTTP Randomizer as well, where we're getting a couple of extra matches in. Speaking of that, ALTTP Randomizer 2 has a match starting in about 5 minutes between Walther 4 and T-Stew 14. We also have on this channel, Speed Gaming 2, at 5, so another hour from now, Hyphenated versus Dustin. Should be a very exciting match. Later on, we got at 6 p.m. Speed Gaming 5. We have Spooty Biscuit versus Macanex. And on Speed Gaming 3 at 7, Someone 325 versus Arius 13. We have more matches going on throughout the night. 8 p.m. on Speed Gaming 4 and Speed Gaming, 2 different matches. 9 p.m. ALTTP Randomizer, and also ALTTP Randomizer 2. All the way through the end of the night. I'd read them all off, but I'm already talking too much.
I'm pretty sure most of those races are all just like this at 4 and 2 do or die, win or cry matches.
Hopefully minimal crying, but definitely winning or dying here for this tournament hopes. And this is probably the most exciting week to be watching. I mean, everybody's as closely paired together as they possibly can be as far as the Swiss system goes. You know, that's been sorting us out throughout the whole thing. Some of us lower on the spectrum than others, so at least you got to 3. Congratulations on that. But with that, that's pretty much everything we got here. Just want to echo some of the sentiments. Thank you for joining me on the mic today, Clifford and Kurito, for doing tracking. And for all of you guys tuning in, everybody who helps make this possible, or background work at Speed Gaming. With that, I'll let you finish us out. I've been Eudaimonistic.
And I've been Clifford. Everybody have a wonderful afternoon, day, night, whatever it is in your neck of the woods. And we will see you next time.
See you next mission.